Hi there, James Galyon here, and this is another little story and a testimony uh, from my series called Minor Miracles. You know, about 20 years ago, I'd been in running my own business for about 10 years. I've been running now for it's been about 30. But about 20 years ago, things were going pretty good. I was making some good money running my own business, had customers, things like that. And I carried me a big old Samsonite briefcase with me that had pretty much everything I used to sell my printing that I did for a living. I did printing for a living, and business cards, envelopes, letterheads, things like that. And I do them all this custom work for people, and I'd gotten a really good reputation because back when I started 10 years earlier, I went out for 2 weeks and handed out a business card and a notepad and told people about me. And from that point on, I hadn't done any sales really at all for other than that first 2 weeks. It'd all been word of mouth because I had been applying what the Bible teaches about treating others the way you want to be treated, and go above and beyond on everything I did to make sure that I did for all my customers, what they needed, and they loved my work, and so things were going pretty good. And carried this Samsonite briefcase around, a full size suitcase here, because it had a lot of stuff in it. It had my cases with all my type setting in it. I could show people what type of type fonts they might want to put their style up, their design in, because I'd help them design their work and help them come up with some ideas to sell their products and things. And I had sample case from 10 years of work. In fact, the 10 years I'd worked for myself, plus samples that I'd brought from places I'd worked before, things that I'd done with my own two hands, because I was pretty good at doing things beyond the capability of normal printers on the equipment that I had, and then doing it for a good price that people like. But I had that in there. I had that sample case, like I said, my type cases, all my price lists, which took quite a bit to get all those worked out and decide, what to charge, what's too much, what's too little. But I had all this in this nice big heavy-duty Samsonite case, one of those. That's like pretty much indestructible. And one evening, I left it out in my pickup truck. I come in, I was tired. Come in, and I don't know if I fell asleep or what it was, but about 2 o'clock in the morning, I walked out of my driveway, and the door of my truck was open because I noticed it because the light was on, and the dome light was on the truck. And I thought, whoa, somebody had been in my truck. No one ever looked, and my case was gone. I had left it unlocked. I didn't even lock this to it. I left it unlocked, and I'm sure somebody driving down the street checking, jumping out and check the doorknobs on vehicles, see if there's something in it worth stealing. Uh, Looked in there, saw that nice shiny briefcase, and thought, oh boy, I got something good here. And they snatched that sucker up. I think weighed, gosh, about 20 pounds, maybe even more, and snatched it up and took off with it. Well, here I am standing out next to my open door of my truck at the end of my driveway, thinking all of my examples of all of my work for 10 years is gone. I had no more samples. This is everything I had. All the samples that I showed customers, with what I used, all my sales kit. This is just me. I didn't work for a big company. It was just me, And I'm thinking, oh crud, what am I going to do? I mean, this is really going to set me back. I mean, this is going to be tough to replace. I'll never get all that work back that I did before. I have no more samples of it to show to people how good work I do, and it's going to be like starting all over again. And so I call the sheriff department. We're out here in Harris County in Texas, down here near Houston, Texas. And sheriff comes out, and he's got the old Smokey the Bear, or actually a cowboy hat on. And he's out here, and he's writing up the things. Yeah, you lost this, and about when it happened, all this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden, when something doesn't feel right, something just get this, just feel something isn't right, or maybe something just is right. But he's sitting there. He made a comment to me. He said, "Well, you'll never see that again." That just didn't sit with me right. I'm an optimist, yeah, But, for somebody to come by at 2 o'clock in the morning, to be long gone, take the suitcase and drive away with it, obviously, uh, it was pretty obvious, it sounded like I wasn't going to get anything back. But it was almost like at that moment, God spoke to me and he said, don't believe him. Don't believe him. I'm like, and I turned with a boldness that I didn't know I had. I turned and looked that guy straight in the eye and said, you know something? God's got a purpose for this. Things happen for a reason. God allows things to happen for a reason, and God has a purpose for this. And this little sheriff boy, he's sheriff department guy. He's like, yeah, okay. It's like she wanted me. I thought I was going to get religious on him. So here's your paperwork, and just keep track of this number and whatever. And he's gone. He didn't want nothing to hear nothing about me talking about God and my faith or anything like that. And I wasn't that much of a witnessing type person at that time anyway. But you know, it was just some reason. It was just like God said, have a little faith. It'll work out. And I wasn't going to let that guy sit there and tell me boldly in my face that, nope, you will never see that again. How does he know? You know? So here I am standing. Beautiful, nice sky that night. I remember it was kind of starry sky and pretty dark. No moon or nothing. Not much of one. And I thought, God has a reason. I just said it. It's kind of like I think God likes a challenge. You can go and as a Christian, or when you believe it, as a Christian, teach us to go and you go off by yourself and you pray and you say, God, I want to take time just to talk to you, just you and me. That's good. God wants to hear from you. He wants to talk to you, just like I talk to you right now. But he also wants you to be bold. Hey, if you believe something, you don't hide it. If you think those Bears are good, the Chicago Bears are going to win the Super Bowl, you say, doggone, the Bears are going to go all the way this year. You don't go, well, I don't know. I them Bears. If you're supporting them, if you're behind them, you cheer them on. Well, I really believe that God had something that was going to good come from this. I had no earthly idea what it was. So standing out at 2:30 in the morning or so now, out there, nice, cool outside. I remember that, clear. And I felt like I just needed to go for a drive. I have no idea why. I said, like, good grief, why do I want to get in my truck? All I want to do is probably go back inside. It's like, golly. But, it was like God said, have hope. Have hope. And so I get in my truck. Now, here's where it becomes. This is one of those little minor miracles. I call a minor miracle here. But you can take this the way you want it. You listen to what happened. Every time I back out of my driveway, 999 out of 100 times. I've lived in this subdivision now since 1979. I'd been here for, 10 years or so then. I back out of my driveway and I turn to the right because I go around one little curve and then I go right out of the subdivision. Then I'm leaving to go places. Every time. It's the shortcut. It's the fastest way to get away, And you'd think that anybody driving by, that'd be the fastest way for them to get out. And for some reason I backed out and I paused for a moment and I thought, no, I'm going to turn left instead of right. I have no idea why I was doing this. So I drove on down to the end of the street. The first stop sign I come to, there's a street light over the stop sign there. And I look down there off to the right, and my eyes aren't the best thing in the world, but something blue sitting on the side of the road, sitting right in the grass, down in the grass on the side of the road to my right, between the sidewalk and the curb. And I looked over there, and it looked like a box of business cards. I had my box of business cards in a little blue box, okay? And I got out and walked around there, and doggone it, if it wasn't my box of business cards. Well, those are $10 to replace for me or less. But, oh, cool, I got my business cards. Somebody must have tossed them out because they knew they couldn't use my business cards, So I'm sitting here, and I'm like, well, that's good, okay. And I got back in the truck. Well, right now, I'm at this intersection. Now, to the right is a little dead-end road, so no one going that way. But I had a choice. I could go straight, which if you're going in a hurry to get away, you want to go straight. Or I could turn left here. I turned left. I couldn't tell you why I turned left. I drove to the next stop sign. Sitting on the side of the road was a blue binder. my typesetting case with all my type fonts in it. Cool. I get out, I pick it up. Now I'm in an intersection again, and I have a choice. Now I can turn left, and that will take me actually the shortest direction right for this moment from this point to get out of the subdivision. But I go straight, it's going to wind me all around through it. I thought I'd go straight. So I drove over to the next stop sign. Now it's like a T in the road here, okay? And I come here, and I got a choice of left and right, and I'm looking on the left and looking right. And then as I looked to the right there, I looked down and I saw on the side of the road my sample case with all my samples of 10 plus years. All all the letterheads, business cards, all the stuff that I showed off, you know. My award that I'd won awards, my examples of stuff I'd won awards for and things like that, laying on the side of the road. Well, I'm sitting here now. I'm at an intersection. I can turn left or I can turn right. So I just turn right. I pick another way. I drive to the next stop sign. You can understand, I'm weaving my way all through the subdivision here. I get to the next stop sign. And at this stop sign, I have another choice of going straight or turning left. But I looked off to the side of the road, and once again, there was another binder with all my price lists and all of my paperwork that I kept inside my, that I worked so hard that it took years to build up. It's laying there. And I get out and I pick it up. Okay, I've now nearly gotten every single thing, the contents of my briefcase back. Okay, now I have one more choice to make. I can turn left, and it is the exit to the subdivision, or I can turn right, go down one more street, and then turn left and exit the subdivision. I decide I'm going to turn left there. I turn left, and laying at the stop sign at the exit of my subdivision was my Samsonite briefcase laying there wide open and empty. The only thing that I hadn't found was a little $8 calculator and a 50-cent ruler. Probably wouldn't, they might have thought they had something. Ooh, a calculator. God restored every single thing I had. But you got to understand, think of all those different directions I could have turned. To even think at 2:30 in the morning that I'm going to get something returned to me, the first thing that God spoke to me and he said, go and look. You know, have faith. And because you had faith, because you listened to me when I said, don't listen to this guy. He's sitting there telling you not to have hope. You know, hope comes from God, you know. And I'm like, no, God, I'm not going to let you make me give up already. And because of that, because I had that little bit of faith, it wasn't a whole lot, just a tiny bit of faith, I went and looked. But he led me. He led me by the nose because I was willing to listen to which way do I go now, God? Okay, this way, you know, each time. It wasn't, I didn't even verbally say, okay, which way do I go, God, you know, but it was because I 100% believe it was because God wanted to show me that what a little faith will do, you know, and he restored it all to me. So just one of those little minor miracles. Or maybe it's a big major miracle because I still got all that stuff, you know, all that sample case and prices and stuff. But it's just neat how when you try to do what God's will is, what he can do so much more with you. You know, by the next day, these things could have been rained on. Kids was going to walk into school the next day could have probably picked it up and ripped out the stuff and said, hey, I got a nice blue binder here, you know. But at that moment in time, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I felt like I needed to go for a little drive. And God restored it to me because I had faith. So I thought I'd share that with you. And I look forward to telling you a whole bunch more of these little things in the Minor Miracle series. And God bless you.